Good morning, all, and we welcome you all for this Cyber Jagrata Divas. As you all know, every month, first Wednesday of every month, like we are observing the Cyber Jagrata Divas to create cyber awareness among the various group of users. It could be ministry officials and all the officials under the organizations of MIT and various other ministries and departments too. Okay, let me give a brief introduction about like the session, and the later part we will move on to the actual session. Okay, so okay, sir. Okay. I'll try to manage myself. And if there are any issues, please check mic at your end also, sir. Mic at speaker kind of thing, right? So these sessions, like we were organizing as part of the as part. All right, thank you. So as part of the Information Security Education and Awareness, which is the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology program by Government of India. And we are having the four important verticals in this ISCA program. So one is generating the highly skilled and certified cybersecurity professionals, which are CISOs, associate CISOs, and deputy CISOs. So we'll try to, there are all the ministries, departments, and organizations are having their own CISOs or deputy CISOs and all. Like we are trying to build the capacity so that they'll be able to take care of the entire cybersecurity posture of the organization or ministry department kind of thing. So that is one aspect which we are covering. The second aspect which we are covering is like grooming students towards the product and solutions developed in cybersecurity by offering at BTech, MTech, and PhD level cybersecurity courses so that they can they can be involved in developing of indigenous products and the solutions with respect to cybersecurity within India, and strengthening the research and dedication in the information security. So to address this issue, like we are doing some three aspects, like one is the boot camps, hackathons, and ideation and innovation kind of thing. Like students from various backgrounds, they can participate in various boot camps which are happening at national level now as part of the ISA project by various institutions. And later part, they also can participate in the hackathons kind of thing, and they also can contribute in ideation and innovation, ideation and innovation aspects of the under the information security. And the most important aspect, like which we're also into, like cyber aware digital nagrik, which is a mass awareness program, like trying to create this mass awareness among the various group of users at various levels. And we will give you the some more information in the following slides. So like 1 to 4, like to facilitate these 1 to 4 activities under ISCA program. So we have a common infrastructure and shared resources, like various forms which are available. So I request, like if all interested participants requested to visit isca.gov.in so that you will get more and more information related to the ISCA project and with various activities which are happening at national level. Right, as I told you, like we are going to focus more on the cyber aware digital nagriks. So under this cyber aware digital nagrik program, so we have three important components. So mass awareness activities in terms of this kind of awareness workshops, physical as well as online, offline kind of thing. Right, these kind of webinars also we are organizing continuously at nationwide, and awareness weeks, which is a week-long program to create mass awareness on various aspects at various levels. It is not only the urban area, like rural area, and which are the areas we are able to cover, like we are trying to do all such kind of things. And we are also using the air. We are also using the air and DD and community radios to reach out the last mile in the country. Like we are also using the community radios so that like they will be able to proliferate information related to, they'll be able to proliferate information related to the cyber awareness among the citizens at village level or block level kind of thing. And we're also coming up with mobile application cyber fitness and awareness app. You also can test if you're a student, if you're a woman, if you're an employee, if you are a senior citizen. You also can test like your cyber fitness. So am I following cyber fitness in the sense it is not like physical fitness. It is are you able to follow some cyber hygiene practices or not? So what are those practices? So up to what extent like we were able to follow those things, and like what are the extra steps someone has to do to inculcate those cyber hygiene practices at user level as well as organizational level. So those are the various aspects which we are covering under the cyber fitness app. To address all these things, like we are coming up with a multilingual awareness content and various aspects in various forms. Either it could be in the handbooks, posters, stickers. So if time permits, after the end of the session, I'm going to show it to all of you. And you also can participate in the user engagement programs, which is, which is quizzes, assessments, competitions, and all such kind of things. Okay, so that you can enhance your knowledge and you can safeguard yourself as well as organizational security aspects. Okay, so these are the various things like which we are trying to do under the mass awareness activities under the digital Nagarik program. So these are the various cyber hygiene practices. See, in most of the situations, in most of the scenarios, so people will undergo this awareness workshop for 1 hour, 2 hour, half a day, 2 day kind of thing, and later part they don't, they will leave it there. But every day, like the cyber crime is increasing, and it is also coming up in different forms. As you all evident, I think 2 days back there was a release by the MHA, Ministry of Home Affairs. So they were quoting like first 4 months, from January to April. So Indian citizens have lost more than 1,715 plus crores of money. So those are reported money, and we were not very sure like what is the uh, what is the unreported or not reported money kind of thing. And yesterday there was an article from the Delhi police stating that like more than 170 crores. They lost from last 3 months only from Delhi. Okay, as a whole, like somewhere around 1750. As a whole, Delhi itself, like somewhere around 170 crores from last 4 months. So that is how, like the technology is evolving and the crimes are also evolving in a different fashion, in a different manner, and people has to aware to safeguard by themselves. Otherwise, there is always chances that anything can happen at any point of time. So cyber awareness and these hygiene practices are very very essential. So those what are the basic cyber hygiene practices someone should have. So we are covering these hygiene practices for various group of users. Like it could be a student, it could be a youth, or it could be a woman, or it could be an employee, or it could be a teacher, faculty. So we request all of you, please enroll yourself and try to complete these courses also. And if you once while completing the courses, and there is always chances that you may get some after completion of the every chapter, you will get reward points. So based on the reward points, there are always chances that you will become a topper in that particular domain at district level, state level, and national level kind of thing, right? You have a lot of reward points and all such kind of things. Any activity you do in the Stay Safe Online portal, you will get reward points. Through those reward points, like you can be a one of the uh, top person in one of the in the respective groups, right? So I request all the employees like who are joining today's session, so join this course. You will get it in Stay Safe Online, and the moment you click on the reinforce cyber hygiene, cyber security, privacy for digital Nagrik, you will be getting these courses, and you can enroll these courses and you can complete these courses. And who are all interested to join ISCA as a cyber ambassador, like you also can organize these kind of awareness, create awareness either in your community, in your office, in your organization, in your school, college, wherever it is. So you can also do that by enrolling yourself in the cyber ISA ambassador program. That links are there. As an individual, as an organization, you can join and you can exhibit and you can support your own skills towards the cyber aware nation, right? So these are the various aspects like which we are doing as part of our portal. Okay, so to today's session, like we are having defending from the new age cyber attacks, right? So to deal with this session, we have with us Dr. Balaji Rajendran, who is a scientist here at CDAC Bengaluru, and he's a vast experience in this particular domain. So let me give a brief introduction about sir. So Balaji Rajendran sir, who is a scientist F and heads the Resilient Information Security Group security group at SIDAC Bengaluru. He has been playing a key role in leading and mentoring several digital trust initiatives in collaboration with the government and industry. And he speared the proliferation of the technology of digital signatures across the country through his engaging lectures and developing interactive contents. He's established the Center of Excellence in DNS Security with the support of the ministry and the industry. And he is an internet technology evologist and had contributed to the fostering of Indian communities for the development of internet protocol standards. He is currently leading the Open Challenge for the development of endogenous web browser for the country. He has executed several funded national and commercial contractual research projects in the area of information security and the critical information infrastructure. He has more than 23 plus years of R&D experience, and he has published more than 50 plus research papers in the various international conferences and journals. He is a fellow of IETE, senior member of IEEE, and a member of ACM and national expert member for developing the IoT security standards by ISO. And he has received a fellowship awards for attending the Internet Engineering and Governance Forums for Internet Leadership and Cybersecurity Process Formulation. And he has delivered 100 plus technical talks in various prestigious forums. He has been a mentor, a co-supervisor for PhD scholars, including NITs, IITs, and IISc. And he has keen interest in developing innovative, endogenous, secure, smart, and resilient systems. So with this brief background, so we welcome Balaji, Dr. Balaji Rajendran sir to deal with this particular session. So over to you, sir. Sir, you are not audible, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the elaborate introduction. So I will just share my slides. Let me see.
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
1 second. Is it okay now or is it breaking?
It is okay, sir. It is okay, sir. Participants, sir, ma'am, like, can you please tell us, like, are you able to hear, sir, properly?
Let me share the slide so that people can say whether
Yes,
my
yes.
voice.
Please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead. Thank you so much.
I think there are messages which are coming which says voice is clear. So
yes, 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 sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. And thank all of you for joining here for this session. And of course, this session is going to deal with how we can defend ourselves against the new new age cyber attacks. I would like to address it from two perspectives. One, as a common citizen, what we can do. One, as part of an organization or as a good friendly neighbor, what we can do. So both are available for us. Meaning both options are. I will just try to what we can do in that perspective. I'd like to cover. So without much of further ado, let me get into the session. So I'll be just dealing with what we look at it and what are the kind of solutions and all. And finally, I'll just give a summary of it. So just before I go into the session, I thought I would like to show the computer that I was using when I was starting my career in computer science. That was in 1980s when I was a school student. So this was the system that was using. The only thread that was there was basically the floppy disk here. So basically here there is used to be a floppy disk, and if you put a floppy disk, probably you can play a game. The games were not, I mean, today it will not be of interest. They are very text-oriented games. Sometimes there can be a virus in the, because this is a copying thing, so there can be some virus in that which can delete your data, and you cannot back up your data at all. The hard disk was there, that's it. So if you want to backup, you have to take the copy of the backup from your hard disk to floppy disk and do it. Otherwise, if you don't use the floppy disk, suppose let us say that I was in, I've seen using accountants at that time also using this kind of systems. They don't allow any floppy disk. They keep all the data in their hard disk and then they manage it. So this was the kind of scenario which they were using, and there were not much of threats. This was the only kind of threat which was there. But today, you know that we are highly connected. If you look at the image on the right, you can see everything is connected. The guys, the users, smartwatch, the mobile phone, laptop, the LED lights, maybe you have a color changing lights, and the Wi-Fi network, the television, the mobile phones, landline phones, the cars, everything is actually getting connected to the network. And even if if you go to your house and check the Wi-Fi router, how many devices are connected, you'll be amazed, because my voice is audible. I hope someone was responding as no voice.
Yeah, it's okay, sir. You are
Yeah.
audible, sir. Please go ahead.
Sure. So we are highly interconnected, and the connectivity is actually tremendously increased. So today, if I ask someone in a metropolitan city how many devices are connected to their Wi-Fi device, it's going to be challenging for them to answer that in a moment, because they have to think and see how many devices are really connected. It can be even the refrigerator which would have connected to the internet, or they could have even have the Alexa which has been connected to internet. So all these things are there. So we are living in a world of everything, basically internet of everything, where everything is being connected and getting this thing. So thing is that we need to be very much careful about two things. One is security, because anything which is anything which is weaker can be infiltrated and it can spread across our network. That is one thing. Second thing is privacy, because sometimes meaning what happens is sometimes my Alexa says that I have to pay the telephone bill of some internet service provider. I'm a bit shocked. So it gives me a notification. So I was wondering how come Alexa knows that I have a bill pending. So these are kind of things which can happen. So tomorrow Alexa can say that I don't have enough groceries or any food items left kept in my refrigerator. All those things are also possible. So these are very we are actually ahead of interesting times. One, of course, it gives us convenience and it gives us genuine reminders. Those are appreciable. But at the same time, how much of information is known to think also we need to the thing. Because basically, I would say in a very funny way that the devices around us are getting smarter and smarter. And we should also aim to become smarter and smarter, not dumber and dumber. So that's what I used to say in a funny way. But anyway, this is a kind of context. So before I go further, today morning I received an email like this, so I thought I will share it. Of course, it was, you can see it was today morning 00:48 minutes. I got this mail. Actually, I am to admit I'm also actually a subscriber of Disney Plus, and I vaguely remember when is my subscription is going to end, because I'm not an active follower. Sometime I had subscribed, and this is the mail I got. So probably I thought when I saw this message headline, meaning I just read there was a notification on my phone also that the mail has come. So I was thinking that this is a genuine mail, a genuine message from Disney saying that this thing. Then I suddenly saw that this message actually has come to my office email ID, which I never use it anywhere in my personal account. Actually, this was in my official email ID is balaji@cdac.in. Actually, it has come to this thing. So very interesting thing was there is a registration renewal. No one will say something like this. Actually, it will be a renewal of your membership or whatever it is. Registration renewal is never a kind of thing. And obviously, when you look at the from email ID, forget the name part. Actually, my eyes are trained and tuned to it. So I request your eyes also are trained and tuned to this. Just don't look at the email address of that email name, whatever it says, but also look at the email ID. It says support-information 18382@ria.travel, which has nothing to do with Disney. So it's obviously a spam. Okay. So you can actually look at it. But I just went ahead and further and see what it was looking at. So if I click on if I click my mouse on this registration renewal, I was getting a address like this, which says that HTTP, that is another thing. HTTP is not a secure way of communicating, and most of the browsers are stopping this. And delivery.ria.travel. So this is what actually information it says. Obviously, this has nothing to do with this kind of this thing. This kind of Disney this thing subscription. So some big URLs there, but this we don't have to worry. But this is the kind of thing which I was noting down. Obviously, this is a fake domain, and this is actually a malicious domain, and this is a spam email. But I was just going and trying to see what these are happening or what is actually happening. So I was trying to see what is this travel, Riada travel is all about. So this is basically a domain which has been created and updated, and there is looks like certain things which are the registry URL also looks like something which is very not this thing, and then suspicious phone numbers, and of course, except for the organization name, nothing seems to be of there is no this thing. But of course, there seems to be an Indian registrant for this particular name server, but it is in the US, and all those things were notable. And obviously, this is a fake domain name, a malicious domain name, purpose used for malicious domain, had been exploited, and you can see this. So this is how it is, and this is how the scenarios are. So now I'll just show you some slightly older examples which are actually there. So I'll just show you this thing. So I received a message long back saying that dear account holder, SMS. This is a SMS message. You says that your SBI documents are expired. Account will be blocked. Update your document. So you click on this domain name and get it updated. That's what the message was. So now for me, unfortunately or fortunately, I have a bank in this. I have an account in this bank. So so when I clicked it, obviously, sorry, just when I clicked it, this is what the right hand side, whatever the looks like that. So obviously, this is how the original the bank website also will look like. But in the URL part, you can see that there is something different, panupload.co.in. So obviously, I know that this is a malicious thing and domain, but I don't know how many of the people would be aware of it. So, and of course, this domain was reported and blocked. And you can see that it is actually not secure. That was, it was not using HTTPS, it was using HTTP. And it was actually this thing. Today, you cannot access the site, but this was almost an year ago. And of course, you also may receive some, what you can say, some interesting emails from shopping websites like this, amazon.co.jp. Maybe you may be thinking that you are going to get 33,600 yen or whatever it may be. And if you look at it, the email address, as I said, from Amazon, I just don't read the name. I just see what is the email address. That is how we typically do. And it says that amazon@security.co.jp. So we know that amazon.com or amazon.co.in or amazon.in is there. So similarly, how come it is actually going to something else? It says that security.co.jp. So means there is some Japan, there is a company in Japan which is actually under the name of security. They are having a name called Amazon. So for example, we can also, suppose if I'm running a CDAC.in, I can also run an thing called Amazon@cdac.in. That is possible. Okay. So we don't do that, but there's a different thing. So it is very much possible. And you can say that this thing. And please look at this email address for a moment, one more second. Actually, it is not Amazon. It is Amazon. AMEZOM. I don't know how many of you noted this. So these are the tricks that actually people play with us. So always it is better to provide, look at the information very carefully in all of this thing. So then again, this is another one is actually a WhatsApp typical example. This again, I think most of the Bangalore people would have received this kind of messages. So if their power supply will be disconnected, actually the message comes from a different number, and there is a saying that you need to call to this particular number. Of course, later everything was meaning there are after a lot of problem and activity happened, it was actually caught and it was all set right. So these all actually are examples which actually happen. And again, these are very common SMS messages that we receive on a daily basis. So anything which it claims to that give us bonus or whatever, just ignore it or just delete it and go ahead. So this is what we need to say. So when I say HTTP and HTTPS, this is a difference. So when I say if I access a shopping.com website And if I use HTTP, all the information can be seen by anyone. Actually, there are a lot of intermediary devices which can be planted and which can go into it. And they can actually use a simple tool like Wireshark and find out what is the content which is being transferred. So, but if I use HTTPS, one simple this thing protocol, then all the information is actually encrypted. Okay, meaning even if someone sees, they will not be able to make out what is this. So this is the beauty of the system, HTTP as well as HTTPS. So our suggestions for the simple users is that how you identify a malicious URL. So basically what I say that is, don't look at the name, just the name, also look at the complete URL or the complete domain name and see any digits are used in the domain name, any special characters are used, what is the length of the URL, how many dots are there, all those things. Actually, this is a fake one, cdac.research.development.in. There is nothing like that. So here, what does that mean is this has no relation with CDAC. There might be somebody who might have who could do a registration as development.in, and below development they can say that they can actually create a subdomain called research, and below research they can have another subdomain called CDAC. Like that, this can go ahead. Okay, so these are certain things which can happen. And nowadays, all the browsers also warn us that not to use a simple HTTP. You should better go for HTTPS. That is the thing. And whenever all of these things are happening, there is a tone of urgency from the attacker. Do it immediately. Otherwise, your account will be suspended or you will be in deep trouble. Something of that sort. It will be pressing for immediate action. Not they won't have any time gap. So that is one of the things. And some of the things and some of the places will have many of pop-ups and advertisements, so you need to be quite maybe a bit wary of it. So that is the thing. I think this is a very popular one and a very everyone knows about this particular topic, but it's very important for us to re-emphasize, because every day actually, as in the beginning itself, it was told that how many things are there. So of course, Honorable Prime Minister has mentioned about the gravity of digital arrest, and he has told very clearly that the importance of it and how it can be digital evidence is very critical for this. So for that, I'll just show you just a few second video. Let me just stop sharing of this, and then just let me show this. Is this visible? The video part?
It is visible, sir. Actually, that voice is not coming.
Yeah, voice I'm playing.
No, voice is not coming, sir. I think there may be settings actually. You can just leave it.
So the essence of the message, basically, it was given in the return also. So whenever the investigation is never ever done by officials online. And second thing is whenever you are collect the evidences and make use of it. So that is the thing. So it's a very short clip. You can actually search in Google also. But anyway, that is what I wanted to share here. So let me come back to the presentation. So the process, how it operates is they identify the victim quite, meaning they try to lay a trap and see who can get, meaning caught in this particular this thing. So the attackers or the scammers, they try to intimidate the victims. Once they find out, okay, you are actually this thing, they intimidate and with the false accusations of illegal activity and demand immediate payment. So this is what actually happens. And they impersonate themselves as a law enforcement. Basically, they act like a police official or a customs official and threaten and provide digital arrest warrants, everything. And victims are finally coerced to, they are actually, meaning they are coerced to transfer money to avoid arrest and all those things, and clearing their name. And then basically the prevention thing is we need to be very careful about this unsolicited call from, especially from unknown numbers, and we never share any of our personal information. Say, for example, they may ask for our credit card number or whatever it may be. Obviously, don't ever share it, and verify the authenticity of the official communication by contacting the relevant agency directly. So these are certain things which we can actually follow. And this is one of the case where it happened recently. In case of, actually it happened, the incident happened in one of the bank where a retired person actually was trying to basically he's a medical doctor, so he was trying to close his fixed deposits with the bank. Thankfully, he did not have much of online access, I guess. So he visited the bank and he closed the bank deposits. So then he wanted to transfer that money which was lying in the closed bank deposits to some account. So the banking official got suspicious of this, and she alerted the manager, who was asking him questions, and there was inconsistent replies from this particular person. So immediately they got suspicious, and actually while all in the discussion, the person was always having a mobile phone, and he was always in the phone, even when he was interacting with the clerk or the manager. So this was one of the things which obviously increased their suspicion, and it was very much clear. So everything was actually clear, and what happened was, they were, they alerted him and they assured him that this kind of digital arrest never happens and this is a fraudulent thing. And then they saved the money of that particular doctor. So this was a thing. Of course, this was actually happened, and this was something which happened thanks to the bank alertness of the banking staff. And this was a very recent incident, just it happened last week. So this was one of the things actually which I thought we'd like to focus on that. So golden rules of digital trust. So what we can do in this kind of scenarios, or how do we do that thing? First thing is basically that I would say authenticity. So there is not an easier thing, meaning basically what you can do is you need to look at all the aspects of communication. Whenever a communication is happening, you need to see whether you are really communicating with the person whom he claims to be. That assurance you should have, number one. And similarly, the other person also should have an assurance that we are communicating with the right person or right entity. So that is a very important thing. So for example, in our previous examples also, when I was trying to access the bank, there was a page which was actually showing a page which was similar to my bank page. So this is basically an impersonation or a fraud which is actually happening. So if there is a soundproof authenticity and all those things, it is a great thing. Second thing is basically the confidentiality or privacy. Okay. So when I communicate, there is no third party who can actually get into it. So basically HTTP and HTTPS. So HTTPS can provide you the required confidentiality. But please remember that only HTTPS alone is not sufficient. There are a lot of fraudulent things which can happen. So these things should be looked in totality and not as a single individual property. Okay, somebody guarantees you confidentiality, that doesn't mean that they are authentic and they have integrity. The third one is basically about integrity. When two entities communicate, it can be a man and a machine, or a machine and a machine, or a man and a man. That is a different story. But all of these properties are very critical. Just there are only 4 properties. This is the third one, integrity. So integrity, when actually people are communicating, if there is, you need to be sure that any document or content is not altered. There is no alteration which is not in a position to alter, then obviously you can trust that thing. The final one is basically about non-repudiation. So the non-repudiation is that suppose you say that you did an action and further you will not be able to deny that thing. So that is some of the things actually which can actually be told. Once you do it, then you will not be able to deny that thing. So if such kind of scenarios can happen, then obviously the assurance of trust levels can increase. So this is some of the golden rules of digital trust. So when you look, these all are required in totality. It's not that I can say that only this is required, that is required. It's all 4 are required. If any system and anything can assure that, then probably we can trust that system. Okay, so but we need to be sure of everything. The people who are involved in the transaction or the distribution. So when we communicate with a bank, with a genuine bank, and this is a genuine transaction, our browser will trust the particular bank. Of course, that is authenticity. And the bank will trust us as a user. The bank system, actually, the system will trust us by using our username and password. Basically, we do that. And they also send us OTP sometimes for logging in and all those things. So they do multiple factor authentication and trust us. So this is the part. Authenticity is the key part in which they do the verification and do the trusting. So these are the properties. And if this can be assured through any system and any communication or any transaction, digital transactions or digital information exchanges, then it can be supported. So now let us little bit move to the next level of attacks. Of course, you know that malware is there. Initially, we started with virus and worms and trojans, and all these malwares can come through whatever ways. It can come as an advertisement, meaning you click an advertisement or you look at an, meaning it can come as a spyware. You download the software, may get downloaded, etc. And you might have also heard about ransomware, where it gets downloaded into the victim system and the victim's files are encrypted and made inaccessible to the user. And then the attacker will demand a ransom payment. And now we have a double extortion, triple extortion kind of stories also. So where the ransomware person will collect money from all parties who are involved in that information part. Then finally, spyware. Basically, the devices are infected and the user activities are monitored and sensitive information are being collected without the user's consent. So these are certain malware thing which is actually there. So when the malware is being planned, they first of all, on the left hand side, you can see the set of steps which they do. First of all, they do a reconnaissance, basically look at what can be done, where it can be done, and then they try to weaponize that. Let us say that they find some weaker system, they can and use that as a weapon, and by using that system, they target some entity or something within that particular network, and then they deliver whatever the malicious thing, deliver and download it on the malicious file, and it is installed in that particular weak system. And then after that, once it is installed, it will play its role, it will exploit and find out other victims and modify the whatever data or whatever it is, and attack is being calculated. So this is the sequence of steps in which a typical malware works through. So now the detection is done through continuous monitoring of servers, networks, and logs. So if there is anything anomalous thing, we need to look at it. And any IPs and domain names of malicious users are being accessed or browsed by systems that can be monitored by that can be relooked by the administrator. And a good perimeter security protection devices, equipments will protect. Some of that we will share it in the end of the session. And of course, users need to be created awareness. That's the whole point of this particular session. And we need to do a continuous monitoring of network equipment and organization assets. So this is very much required. So the malware typically spreads through email or even a physical media like a pen drive or an external hard drive, or they make you to visit a malicious website or compromised website, malicious links, etc. And then they make you to download some software which are non-trustworthy download sites, trojans, etc. And file sharing, if you are trying to do any file sharing between devices or different servers, Then also these things are typical exploits. And finally, they try to intrude through your network and devices. So these are some of the ways in which a malware spreads across your network and systems. And these are the popular carriers of malware: the exe files, WinZip files, PDF files. If you are looking at, these are some of the ways in which the malware gets propagated. Meaning in Excel, you say macros and things like that. So how do you identify? If you're a normal user, then probably if you are noticing slow processing, it is not 100% this thing, but at least you can start becoming suspicious of what is happening. If you are noticing slow processing speed, and if your system is getting automatically rebooted or shut down, or if you are seeing an increasing number of processes in your task manager, and there are intermittent pop-ups which you are seeing suddenly in your system, which you have never seen so far, and if you are seeing a sudden spike in the CPU usage, where you may be using only one window, the CPU usage may be suddenly 80%, 70%, etc. And if you are experiencing sluggish internet, even if you are having a very good bandwidth, but still you are experiencing sluggish internet, means that probably the data is getting exfiltrated from the malicious programs which may be residing in your system. And increased disk usage. Suddenly you are seeing your C drive or whatever is getting full or close to filled. All those things are symptoms of malware infected device. Obviously, this needs thorough detection and this thing. So these are certain things which can look into it. When in network usage also can be monitored and seen if there is anything sudden spikes, and any DNS and IP tracking can be used, all those things. Non-responsive systems and logs can be monitored, disk usage can be looked at, and everything. So this is how a typical malware enters and how it propagates into the system. So basically we have taken some sample of a CLOP ransomware, how it was working. So it actually sends a phishing email to the victim. Victim opens the mail, and he mistakenly downloads a file, and meaning the downloads or executes the file, basically double clicks it. So what happens is the malicious file will download the PowerShell. The PowerShell is a program through which the number of commands can be executed, and then PowerShell has actually been done. Then what happens is the lateral movement actually happens. Not sure how do we zoom. Okay, let me see. Yeah. So this is how it looks like. The victim is sent a mail, and he downloads a file, and malicious file. That malicious file further actually goes to the connection to the internet, downloads the PowerShell, and PowerShell, after PowerShell, actually it also downloads another file called Cobalt Strike, through which the multiple system can be gained control of. And from PowerShell, they try to get into the network, see for weaker system. Okay, the weaker system through the Cobalt Strike program, how would they do it? And then Mimikatz is another program which will help you to gain access to the credentials like Active Directory and all. So domain admin and domain system, and credentials are stolen, and then the system gets compromised. So this is how it actually looks like. And finally, what happens is, meaning once the infected system, so the ransomware is downloaded, it encrypts the file, and then it communicates the message that the files have been encrypted, and then that information comes, and obviously then the attacker will send you a message demanding ransom for the person. So that is how it actually works actually. So this is a kind of sequence in which the ransomware actually is working. So this is the part. Let me come back from zoom out mode. Yeah. So this is something which actually the compromise is the flow in which it happens. So obviously one needs to be aware of these programs. They need to update their signatures. They have to work at the enterprise entry level. Okay, so it's not for the typical user, but of course at the enterprise organization level, one needs to be protective of this. So when we are talking about the organization level, this is one of the images which we use and say where you can have a fortified and layered defense. So if you look at a fort in the olden days, probably you know that they are constructed deep inside, and they are surrounded by this thing, and which is isolated totally from the next level. So there is a lot of water here. There may be here dangerous crocodiles or snakes or reptiles. And here, if you want to cross over, then they put up the crossover and then cover. Basically, what they do is there gives a air gap is there. Air gap networks, we say. So something similar to is multiple layers and multiple fortified layers of defenses are required in today's context also. So that is what the things are actually going on. So now I just like to very briefly cover about the AI-based threats which are emerging today. Of course, it actually, I can't say it is only threat, but it is also an opportunity for us to do multiple things. Say, for example, if looking at the large amount of traffic which is coming, because anyway traffic is increasing, so it becomes very critical to have an AI-based system. Say, for example, if you look at today, if you look at a home, if there are meaning 4 members living in a home, all of the devices are connected. So you cannot monitor every traffic and you cannot look at it. That is an administrator point of view. So if you have an automatic system or an intelligent system, a smart system, which can traffic any anomalous behavior pattern, it will be a great thing. And this is a generative adversarial network is one of the AI model which can be used for detecting organization defenses and identifying phishing websites, etc. And simulating the cyber attack to train organization incident response team and practice responses can be done. Synthetic data set. Again, the great challenge in AI and ML systems is that data. You getting a real-time data is a very big challenge, and rich data is also even more challenge. So what people actually look at is they try to create synthetic data sets for training. So whatever it may be. So in a sense, it can look like a very natural-looking real data, but which will not be the case. So honeypots and all those things can be deployed and be taken, and then sensitive data can be anonymized before it is sharing, meaning automatically sensitive data can be identified and flagged to the administrator. So these are all positive things in which it can be done. Visual representation of complex cybersecurity data can be done, identifying anomalies from large data sets. Because if you look at a 3-day data or 72-hour data, it's going to be a huge amount of data. And identify and block inappropriate or harmful content in emails, chat messages, social media, etc. All those things can happen. And generative models can analyze patterns in passwords and generate recommendations for stronger passwords. Say, for example, if you're having a password, how strong it is, meaning without doing, we can actually give a, give a recommendation that this password can be improved by this thing. All those things can be done. And generate variations of a known malware sample to stay ahead of evolving malware threats. All those things are possible. New signatures can be detected and detection capabilities can be improved. So these things actually happen. So for example, these kind of image manipulations can happen on the left-hand side, but this is a threat, right? You can actually, it's very much possible, as you can see, that passport number or faces or whatever it is actually getting changed. But on the right-hand side, you are seeing there are various ways in which we can find out whether the information given is real or not. The facial, the fingerprint, the data, all those things are actually possible to be done with AI. So these are quite interesting things ahead. And of course, you can see here there is how typical large language model is being exploited on the left-hand side for trying to give away the code. Of course, when you're positioning it at the right on the right-hand side, it actually stops, meaning it doesn't. When you're asking for something a malicious thing, if you're asking it to do a malicious code, it does not share it. But there is a clever, tricky way of doing that. So how it does is can be seen in the left-hand side. Okay, of course, this is also blocked now, but this is slightly older. Yeah, possible. And of course, all of you maybe have heard about the word deepfake, where AI is being used for basically for manipulating whatever people have never said or never done. So it can be done into mimic the real thing. So, but it involves deep intelligence thing. So what they do is, say, for example, to create a deep fake video or this thing, data has been collected of a particular targeted entity. So who are being targeted, their videos and images are captured, and they need, of course, data is required. A large data set is required, and then pre-processing has to be done, and the AI model has to be trained, fine-tuned with more reality check. And then finally the required output can be delivered. Of course, this is how the engineering of deepfake works. So what we can do in this kind of world is, obviously we need to look at, we interact only with trusted entities, and we only use trusted communication channel, that is secure communication channels. And if you look at all of these 4 properties, whether it is assured or not: confidentiality, authenticity, integrity, non-repudiation. So I would like to summarize whatever we have been just covering. So threats were emanating from a broad canvas today, from emails to spams to phone calls to whatever it is. And social engineering attacks are trending as easy targets. Of course, self-awareness is the key. Just we need to be little bit thinking and reflecting, and we should not get carried away by whatever the fears or whatever that is being created. And there is a digital trust is one of the things that is actually meaning trusted devices, trusted entities, everything in trusted connections and communities, everything actually is happening on. Self-awareness, actually, when scenarios are in, if you can just take a moment, and even if you do a Google search or whatever it is, you can actually find out the kind of things which are actually happening. And from the enterprise's point of view, I would suggest that cyber resilience is the way, because everyone knows that cybersecurity and attacks are always going to be there. It's actually always a game of the police and the thief. So how are you going to be resilient, and how are you going to go ahead is how the things as we plan. So that is a thing which is coming up. So I just thought I will just highlight 2 of our solutions from CDAC Bangalore. One was basically the protective DNS for enterprises, which can be readily used, meaning anyone can configure this IP address 103.58.120.120 in their DNS resolver, as their DNS resolver. And it can try to protect you from your malicious domains and things like that. If you have any queries, then you can obviously mail us. And we also have a solution called Intrust. So basically, you can just look at this cartoon which says that we have implemented zero trust. I don't believe you. Exactly. Basically, what does it mean is zero trust means you trust only after verification, after you prove yourself. So that is a scenario, and the world is moving. Everything, any device or any user is accepted to access the resources after he is verified. So that is the essence of zero trust. So we have a solution for that also, trust in test. So this is exactly the point here. So we also have number of other thing other than ISE. Also, apart from that, if you want to get deeper into cryptography and digital signatures, public key infrastructure, please follow this YouTube channel on PK India. If you're looking at DNS and routing and other things, internet security point, you can actually look at INREEN YouTube channel, where there is a number of tutorial videos available on this particular topic. And this is these are our other channels through which we communicate. Please also have a look at the websites and this thing. And so thank you for your patient listening. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take it up.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful and enlightening session.